What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and in today's article, I wanted to go over something that may be cool, may be fun, probably a lot of people won't really care about. So before we do that, I just want to take you guys back over 300 years ago to the island of Mauritius, right? Okay, where these big, giant pigeons are just kind of lumbering around the landscape. These things were so unused to humans that you could literally just walk up and just bash them on the head. They pretty much went the same way the moas did, which is another video I'm going to get into. But they were basically like they'd never had predators on that island before. Like they were just big. I mean, there were things that ate them on the island, but they were just kind of, I don't know. Everybody says they're dumb, but they were only as smart as they had to be, and they were just wandering around eating nuts. And yeah, I mean, they got so lazy they got pretty much too fat to fly, which has been kind of debunked on how they actually looked. But yeah, guys, I'm talking about dodo birds. So I know everybody thinks like dodo birds were dumb and things like that, but like I said, they were really kind of only as smart as they actually had to be. Um, and unfortunately, due to that, we killed them all. Essentially, there are no more dodo birds left. There's some rumors that there might be some surviving members on small islands around Mauritius, but realistically, as of right now, they're classified as extinct. I would love to know if they were alive. There were some videos like back a little while ago that one was definitely proven to be a hoax. One whereas some people thought they might have seen like a small flock running across the grass, but no one could really prove that that was dodos. Now, but the fun thing about it is, and what's going to be in this article is, we have actually managed to just compile the entire genome of the dodo bird. So what does that mean? What that means is we can actually potentially clone them and bring them back to life if possible. Then again, it's kind of the question: should we even do that? I mean, they're gone. We can't put them. I mean, if we put them back in Mauritius, they might do more harm than good at this point. It's kind of the same argument as the thylacine. Should we do it? I don't know. Should we not, or should we? Could it help the environment? I mean, there's no real way we'll ever know until we for sure just do it, and then just kind of reap the consequences of what we sow. So anyway, though, with all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get into this article. Please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment down below with what you guys think about this article we're about to go over, and just generally what you guys, anything you guys might want me to cover in the future. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss a video from me. I upload literally 7 days a week, and I say let's get into this video. Like I always like to say, guys, I don't actually own the rights to these articles. I like to just use them to pass along information. If you guys want to check this article out, please go to thehindu.com and show them some love, but also stick around and we'll go through this together. So I actually started down, but that is the skeleton of a dodo bird. Explained. Can the dodo be brought back to life? Researchers have succeeded in isolating the entire genome of the dodo bird, a bird that went extinct in the 17th century. Can we bring animals back from extinction? In a panel discussion on this topic organized recently by the Royal Society evolutionary biologist Beth Shapiro, mentioned that if there were an animal she would like to bring back from extinction, it was the dodo. This falls on the fact that researchers at her lab at the University of California, Santa Cruz have succeeded in isolating the entire genome of the dodo. What is the dodo and why is it so interesting? The dodo is a bird that lived in the Mauritius region and was last spotted 350 years back in 1662. Since then, it has become extinct. It would not be exaggerating to say that it is the very symbol of extinction. The phrase "dead as a dodo" is common in English to refer to something totally dead. The form of the bird has been revived from old drawings, and the closest resemblance is in an Indian Mughal painting rediscovered in the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. In the painting, it is slimmer and browner than in other descriptions. It is believed to be a more accurate depiction because it is pictured along with other birds which can be easily identified. The painting is by Mughal painter Ustad Mansour, probably commissioned by Emperor Jahangir, who was famous for getting flora and fauna documented in paintings. I apologize for the pronunciation of these words, guys. I know I'm messing some things up. So bringing the dodo alive would be the ultimate story of the extinction. So this is the painting, right? And so the reason we think this is the most accurate depiction of like what dodos look like, that's cool, is because like these things, so the Lorisius gull, the Tragopan, the Ancerus indictus, the Patroclus index, like all anyway, like I'm sure those aren't even like great pronunciations or just straight up the actual names of the regular names of the birds. It's because like all of these birds were depicted like they're still alive and we actually know what they look like. So everybody's like, this here is probably the most accurate painting of the dodo because there's no reason that the guy would have like changed how it looked in the painting, but not changed how the rest of these look, if that makes sense. So how does the dodo look? A species endemic to the island of Mauritius, the dodo is believed to be about 1 meter tall, flightless, and weigh between 10 and 18 kilograms. Um, you guys will see up here somewhere just how many pounds that is for those of us that use pounds. Its real appearance is known only from paintings and drawings, which vary a lot. What animal is the closest living relative, and how do we know that? So this is the important thing for bringing it back. Like we can't bring it back unless we can use a current animal to basically lay the egg. Beth Shapiro's lab has sequenced the complete genome of the dodo in work that is as yet published, and she says the closest living relative of the dodo is the Nicobar pigeon. That makes sense. Believe it or not, dodos are just big pigeons, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, but they work because the pigeons got to the island. There's nothing to eat them, so they didn't need flight. Flight is very expensive. The running thing is if birds don't need to fly, then they don't fly. That's how we get all the flightless birds. Like essentially, like they give up flight to run away, but in doing that, they actually gain that ability. Like flight is a very expensive thing to have. How does one recreate the full genome of an ancient dead animal? You need a specimen of the animal that has not been fossilized over the ages. Icy places like permafrost may contain remains of living beings in such a preserved form. A small piece about the size of a fingernail is taken from the specimens and broken into small pieces. In an absolutely uncontaminated state, this is added to the PCR kit, which multiplies the genome and makes many, many copies. From these fragments, the entire genome is pieced together, comparing it to genomes of other living closest relatives. First, the researchers in Shapiro's team tried to do this from a piece taken from a specimen at Oxford, but it was not nearly large enough. Later, they found a specimen in Denmark from which they were able to sequence the entire genome. Can the genome be used to resurrect an animal, in particular the dodo? Beth Shapiro explains in the discussion that the known way of doing this would be to first stick in parts of the extinct animal's genome into a framework provided by its close relative. For example, by inserting the mammoth's genome into the elephant's and construct a cell that contains sufficient amount of mammoth genome in it, and then to clone it like Dolly the sheep. But while this process has been somewhat understood in the case of mammals, a new process has been worked out for birds. There are different groups that are working on this, and I have no doubt that we'll get there. But this is a hurdle we face with birds. So that was the end of the article. Before we jump off of this, though, I don't know where this is or what they actually use. They probably used like feathers or bones more than likely, and that's what they used to get the genome. But I do believe they found something else. So this is from a different article, but this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is the mummified head of a dodo. For sure, we may not know what the bodies look like, but we can for sure at least discern what the head looks like. And I believe they also found like other pieces, I think. And that's like the inside of it and things. Yeah, I don't know. I think they found a foot too, and that's what I was looking for, but I found the head. So yeah, guys, that was pretty much it. Can we bring the dodos back to life? At this point, we're just leaping over what I think are the last few hurdles. And then, like they said, so what they'll basically do is they'll take the closest living relative, which was that pigeon, and take an embryo from that and make that as close as they can to a dodo, and then they'll clone that embryo, thus cloning the dodo. Is the basic rundown of what that is and how that process sort of works. Like I don't know how it all works, but that's how we did Dolly the sheep. Like that's how that got thing. Like if you guys have an outrageous amount of money and you want to clone your dog, you can also do that. But just giving you a heads up, that new dog is going to have a whole separate personality more. But that's this whole other thing. And we can get into if you guys would like. Give me 100 likes on this, and I will talk about cloning all day. But I want you guys to let me know, do you guys think we should bring the dodos back? Have you guys ever seen like a part of a dodo or anything? I would like to know if you ever seen one in a museum. That is my dog whining at me. And so I'm going to have to go deal with that. But while I'm doing that, you guys, please go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop that comment down below, turn on those notification bells, and I will see you guys in the next video.